Good morning and welcome back to Trinidad and Tobago. Well, we are talking about the 7th Annual International Caribbean Association of Oncology and Haematology. The conference will be held over this weekend, and to tell us about the organization and event, we have the Chairman of CAOH 2017 and Oncology Advocate Dr. Marisa Nimrod and cancer survivor and advocate Clifford Tardieu. Good morning. How are you all?
Good morning.
So tell us a little bit, what is CAOH?
So CAOH is actually a non-profit NGO that was incorporated this year after the development by Dr. Peter Bovell a few years ago. So we're pretty much a Caribbean Association for Oncology and Haematology. We hope in our mission to actually be the catalyst and the driving force that will move cancer care forward in Trinidad and Tobago and by extension the Caribbean.
To understand a little bit more about what it is you all have done so far and what you have achieved, this is the 7th Annual International CAOH Conference, correct?
Right.
What are some of the achievements you've had in the past?
Okay, so the different chapters of CAOH are actually based across the Caribbean. It's normally a scientific session that will be held over the course of 3 days. So it's really aimed towards improving continuing medical education, best practice and standards for physician and allied health professionals. And pretty much that's been developing over the past few years where we've been taking it to different countries to get feedback from the professionals. So the last time it was actually held in Barbados. That would have been almost 2.5 years ago. Different countries from Jamaica, Bahamas, everyone else has been a part of it. So this year is coming back to Trinidad. Every time we try to streamline what the focus and the mission would be. So this year we thought, based on our economic stratification in the Caribbean, that we would start looking how to optimize the resources that we have to give, obviously, the best quality of care.
And what would you say that the seminar in a nutshell is all about? Is it about creating awareness, educating people?
So it's actually both, actually. So the part of the conference, which is the main part of it, would be the scientific session. So we have obviously the best minds in medical oncology, radiation oncology, etc., who will be coming to present. So we actually we're quite honored this year to have our keynote speaker, Dr. Ben Anderson, coming in from Seattle. He is the director and the chairman for the Global Health Breast Initiative. We're honored to have the president of Howard this year, Dr. Wayne Frederick, will be coming to actually speak about surgical oncology and how to optimize resources. And then we have the incoming chair for the American Society for Clinical Oncology for Quality, Dr. Mohammed Jahanzeb, is actually coming. So, you know, we're hoping with that power team to actually start the discussions on the Friday. And then we have, obviously, both local and international speakers who will be coming to address best practice in oncology, medical oncology, and the different subspecialties that would be associated with our field.
So you do have a very packed agenda.
Oh, we do.
All right, so Mr. Tardieu, tell us a little bit about yourself. You're a cancer survivor. Tell us a little bit about your story and the role that you will be playing at this conference.
Well, in a nutshell, by accident, my wife and I found out in 2011, late in 2011, just by sitting across from each other, and she saw this little bump on my neck, and she said, "What's that?" I don't know. I didn't feel anything. 2 or 3 weeks later, it got bigger, and then bigger, and then bigger, and then you could actually see it like a child's fist on my neck. And we went, we got it checked out, and the doctors looked at it, and what's that? And another doctor came in, and what's that? So eventually we had a CAT scan, and we found out that I had not just one lump, but eight lumps. 2 were near my kidneys, 1 was in my kidney, 1 near my spine, 1 near my cervix, and 1 close to my aortic valve. Did some chemo, quite aggressive chemo at the time, and here I am.
Early detection.
It was, if we did not find out early enough, it would have gone to stage 4, which would have spread to organ, and then I would not be here. But I think that detection is so important in that if you catch it late, let me just explain.
Sure.
You have those who promote herbal stuff and those who promote the medical aspect, the chemotherapy. You could eat a field, a whole garden of soursop and still die. You could have a barrel of chemotherapy and still die because it depends on how soon you catch it. And then you could also use the 2 therapies as well. One is not over the other, one is not over the other. And then the mindset is also important. I think that in Trinidad and Tobago, I could speak for myself personally, is that Trinidadians, oh, you have cancer, but you look all right, you look good. They think that if you have cancer, you either should be dead or you should be on a bed dying. So in that sense, when people like myself come out of it, when we survive, people look at us like, your cancer was really that bad? So that's the difficult aspect of being a survivor, because going through the chemotherapy, there are a lot of side effects, which I'm still experiencing now. I used to have eyebrows, but the thing is that I also have lung damage. So these are the things that we're helping people to understand through this seminar, through CAOH, through Dr. Nimrod, that there's a connection between the doctors and the patients. There needs to be communication. And then, well, of course, the drugs, the treatments, those are a different story as well.
Now, you spoke about communication between the doctors and the patients, but the question is, are the patients actually going to get their checkups? How important is this?
I think that generally people only check themselves when they feel bad. And if in my instance, my wife looked at me and said, what is that on your neck? Had she not done that, I would have gone to a stage where it was more developed and I wouldn't have had the chance for a second lease in life. So Trinidadians as a whole, we just don't like to go to the doctor or the hospital, and that is the dangerous aspect of cancer. Cancer is a silent killer. By the time you realize it's there, it's already taken you halfway down. It's already gone at the root of the tree and it starts cutting you down. So there's very little you could do at a late stage cancer. So just don't, according with men, especially prostate cancer or other cancers relating to the machismo aspect, be machismo and be dead. Be aware and be alive.
Wow. Now, I'd like to talk a little bit about, obviously people are looking on. They want to know, was it hereditary in your case?
I've had cancer in my family. I've had a cousin die at 16 of lymphoma. That was way back in the 80s when cancer treatment in Trinidad was in its very infant stages. Now it's got so much better. Dr. Nimrod works at the National Radiology Center in RC in St. James, and that place has gone leaps and bounds. It's the number one treatment center in the Caribbean. So in Trinidad, I'd say that people generally have cancer is in their blood. Cancer is everywhere. It's like a cold now. Just anyone could have cancer. But for me personally, it was very difficult for treatment because in addition to having cancer, I have a rare blood disorder. That means that my platelets don't work. And chemotherapy hits your platelets very hard so that you literally go downhill when you take chemo. And for me, my platelets always hover around 50. And that's usually when they want to transfuse people. So after my second or third cycle of chemo, sometimes I went down to 10, yes. And the doctors would look at me and say, why are you still standing? So again, it's a whole mindset. It's also a bit about, aggressive treatment, and also like that communication with the doctors, letting them know what your body is telling you.
All right. Before we wrap up, I'd like to talk about what does the fight against cancer need and the focus of this particular symposium and the advocate to the government. I know one of the objectives to advocate to the government the need for patients' access to high-quality cancer care, including the availability of state-of-the-art oncology, drugs and radiation treatment. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so that has actually been commissioned and that's ongoing. So that's not something new. So what we probably will advocate for is actually most likely institutional strengthening. So that means obviously working with the government and other stakeholders to ensure that we continue to have that high quality service available to us. So before we go, Cliff just wanted to tell people about the ball in particular that he's going to be a part of.
Of course, yes. We just have 20 seconds
sure.
to
on Saturday night from 7 to 10,
yes,
survivors like myself will be donning suits and outfits by designers, and we're going to show our stuff.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.